Urgent. Unidentified cosmic anomaly detected approaching Earth. Object moving at incredible velocity past Neptune. This image was captured by a nearby satellite. Current trajectory suggests Earth intercept will be identifiable by tomorrow morning as it reaches Saturn. All citizens advised to remain calm and await further instructions. Do not attempt mass evacuation. There is no point. Updates will follow hourly. Military and scientific personnel are to report to their designated stations.
Code Red! Everyone get online now. This is not a drill. We got some serious news to discuss.
Yeah, I just saw it. No way this is how we find out there's more life out there.
Already calculating survival probabilities. They're looking pretty bleak.
I don't want to die.
Guys, this is bad. Really bad. Dad just rushed to NASA in full panic mode. He's never done that before.
My conspiracy theories don't seem so crazy now, do they?
Not the time for I told you so, Rupert.
Guys, remember who we are.
The Cosmic Horror Club. If anything cosmic horror related happens, we use our knowledge to survive.
My observatory computers just crashed. All of them. Simultaneously.
I suggest we start analyzing similar scenarios from our horror knowledge base.
Agreed. That'll calm us down. And better to know what's going to kill us than not. Connor, you start us off. What's your analysis?
Ever seen The Mist? Because I think we're about to be living it. So, let me explain. The Mist isn't just about a bunch of monsters in a cloud. It's about how quickly society breaks down when faced with the unknown.
The grocery store scene still haunts me.
Don't remind me.
But what exactly happens in it?
So after an explosion at a secret nearby military facility, this supernatural mist suddenly appears, trapping people in a supermarket. But the real horror isn't the creatures, it's how quickly people turn on each other.
Just checked Twitter. People are already fighting at grocery stores, just like in the movie.
My neighbor just pulled a gun on someone for trying to steal his car.
It's been 2 hours since the announcement. We're already falling apart.
That's exactly my point. For example, in The Mist, the religious zealot Mrs. Carmody convinces people they need human sacrifice to escape.
Yikes. Oh, and speaking of secrets, my dad's a scientist, right? And he says the government knows more. They're hiding their true thoughts on what it is.
Just like in the movie, the military knew, you see. They opened a doorway to something they couldn't control.
Look at the news. 3 major cities already have riots.
We're literally living the mist, minus the monsters. For now.
Should we stick together then? Find somewhere safe?
In the mist, being together didn't help. In fact, it made things worse. But you gotta remember the ending of the mist. Sometimes the worst choice is giving up hope too soon. But here's what really terrifies me. What if, like The Mist, the threat isn't coming from space? What if that's just a cover story?
Huh?
Well, what if whatever's coming is already here, and the government knows it? The space anomaly is just a distraction from this.
Actually, that kind of makes sense. Why tell us to stay inside when the thing is supposedly still near Saturn?
In The Mist, the military opened a doorway to other dimensions. What if our government did too?
I'd rather not know, to be honest. Ignorance is bliss right now.
No, knowledge is power. We need to know what we're dealing with.
But the mist couldn't be it. The anomaly is coming from space.
Unless, what if they're connected? What if whatever's down there is calling to whatever's up there?
Okay, maybe the mist isn't the best comparison. Laurie, tell us about the thing. Because I think that might be closer to what we're dealing with.
Oh God, if you say so. The thing is a hell of a lot different from the mist, because the enemy isn't visible, it's among us. A malevolent entity looking exactly like us.
Great! So it could be any one of us, right? How does that work exactly?
The thing can perfectly replicate any living organism, down to the cellular level.
I hate that scene so much.
But here's the terrifying part. You wouldn't know if your friend was replaced. They'd have all their memories, all their mannerisms.
Like a perfect copy?
Exactly. The only way to know is through a blood test.
The paranoia in that movie.
That's the real horror, not knowing who to trust.
Could you even trust yourself?
That's the deeper question. How do you know you're still you?
This is getting too deep.
But think about it. In the movie, every character questioning their own humanity.
Would we even know if something like that happened?
That's what makes it scary. The perfect infiltrator. No way to detect it.
Stop. I'm already paranoid enough.
But it's just a movie, right?
Sure, but the concept is terrifying. Something that could be anyone, even someone in this chat.
Laurie, don't even joke about that.
Sorry, but there's more to it. Something that relates to our situation. Want to hear my theory? Here's what's really bugging me. What if whatever's coming from space isn't the first one?
Oh God.
What if it's coming to meet its advanced party? Think about it. All these government secrets, the weird NASA activity, the military mobilization. How do we know it hasn't already started?
Hey guys, Connor's been awfully quiet lately. Maybe he's been replaced. This you?
Very funny. What about you, Rupert? You've been acting strange all week now that you mention it.
Guys, stop. This isn't helping.
Hell nah! The power just went out. My whole street is dark.
Same here.
Here too.
It's probably just the grid overloading. Everyone's online panicking.
Or maybe the things are cutting power.
Stop! We need to talk about something else.
Agreed. Alexi, tell us about Prince of Darkness. From what I've heard, there's no body snatchers in that one.
Sure, but first, everyone prove they're human.
How?
Just kidding. Let me tell you about the Prince of Darkness. Prince of Darkness is different. It's not about monsters or body snatchers. It's about the intersection of science and religion.
How so?
Imagine finding out that Satan is real, but not in the biblical sense. He's a mass of swirling green liquid in an ancient church basement.
That looks fun.
The researchers discover that this liquid is actually an ancient form of evil that operates on a quantum level.
So Satan is scientific?
Exactly. The horror comes from realizing that everything we believed about faith has in fact got a scientific explanation. But that explanation is even more horrific.
Like how we're doing now, trying to explain the anomaly. Through horror movies, we know.
That's actually a brilliant observation. Humans always try to contextualize the unknown through familiar frameworks.
Like how religious people are saying, this is the rapture.
And scientists are saying it's just a comet.
In The Prince of Darkness, the researchers try to quantify evil, try to understand it through equations, but that just makes it worse.
Because some things shouldn't be understood?
Indeed, because understanding them only reveals an even deeper horror.
Like what?
That reality itself is far more terrifying than our myths.
Just like now, we're all sharing horror stories to try and make sense of what's coming.
But in The Prince of Darkness, their attempts to understand just made them aware of things we aren't meant to know about.
Because knowledge isn't always power.
Correct, and sometimes knowledge is terror. And I think I know how this relates to our situation.
How?
Well, what if the government has an idea of what's coming, but can't even tell us that because it defies human comprehension?
Like in The Prince of Darkness, when they discover the truth about Satan.
Precisely. What if it's not just an alien as we might think of it, like this, for example? But instead, what if it's something that breaks our understanding of reality?
Like a being from another dimension?
My brain hurts.
But if we can't comprehend it, why even try to warn us?
That's the real horror. They're warning us because they have to, but they know it won't help.
Like warning an ant about a nuclear bomb.
Would the ant even understand? Or just keep doing ant things until the end?
And that's exactly what we're doing. Sitting here, trying to understand the incomprehensible.
Through horror movies, no less. Like that'll help.
But maybe that's all we can do. Try to understand what can't be understood through human stories and concepts.
Speaking of incomprehensible horrors, Lucas, tell us about Cthulhu.
Oh boy, now we're getting to the real cosmic horror.
The ultimate Lovecraftian being.
Yep. Allow me to explain why Cthulhu might be exactly what we're dealing with. Cthulhu isn't just a big monster. That's where everyone gets it wrong. This isn't Cthulhu. This is just our minds trying to make sense of Cthulhu.
So, there is no monster? Doesn't sound very scary to me.
Oh, trust me. You don't need a monster feel fear from a concept. Take Lovecraft's story. Nobody actually sees Cthulhu properly, because our brains literally can't process what it is.
Like a computer trying to open a file it can't read?
Exactly. The story follows an investigation into various cases of mass hysteria, all connected to dreams. Dreams of a sunken city, and something sleeping within.
Ralia, right?
Yep, a city whose geometry doesn't make sense, angles that can't exist, architecture that breaks physics.
My head hurts just thinking about it.
That's the point. The horror isn't about being eaten or killed. It's about realizing how insignificant we are. But even this is wrong, because Cthulhu isn't just big, it's beyond physical comprehension.
Like trying to explain color to a blind person?
More like trying to explain color to a bacteria. We're that insignificant.
So in the story, what happens when people see it?
They go insane, because their minds can't process what they're seeing. Some form cults, some kill themselves, others just break.
But why does it drive them mad?
Imagine discovering that everything you know, everything you believe, is not just wrong, but so unbelievably far from the truth that it's laughable. Like a speck of dust discovering quantum physics.
And Cthulhu isn't even the scariest one.
No, Cthulhu is one of the old ones. But if you saw the outer gods, well, we wouldn't be talking right now, that's for sure. Oh, and I haven't even started properly on the cultists. These people know they're insignificant, and that's what drives them mad. They worship what they cannot understand.
Like a survival mechanism?
Precisely. When faced with cosmic horror, the human mind has three options: complete denial, insanity, or worship.
What about understanding?
That's what the Necronomicon is about, a book that contains the truth. But reading it drives you mad as well, because understanding is madness.
So ignorance is bliss?
In Lovecraft's world, absolutely. The universe is so vast, so incomprehensible, that knowing the truth is a curse.
Like that quote. In his house at R'lyeh,
Dead Cthulhu waits dreaming, but he's not actually sleeping. He's existing in a way we can't understand, in dimensions we can't perceive.
Jesus Christ.
That's Lovecraftian horror for you. It's not about the tentacles. It's about the philosophical implications of our cosmic insignificance.
And how does this relate to our situation?
Well, what if we're not even the target? What if whatever's coming is so vast, so incomprehensible, that Earth is just in its way?
Like an anthill in the path of a nuclear convoy.
Not even that significant. More like a single atom in the path of a galaxy.
but the government knows something.
That's what's really terrifying. What if there are already cults within our own government?
What do you mean?
In Lovecraft's stories, the cultists always knew first. They could sense their god's arrival.
Like the NASA scientists?
Exactly. So what if they're not warning us, but preparing us for their god's arrival?
The silence, the vague warnings.
All classic cult behavior. They know we can't handle the truth, so they feed us breadcrumbs. And here's another thought. What if the anomaly isn't moving towards Earth? What if Earth is moving towards IT?
That's somehow worse.
Because it means we're powerless. We can't stop our planet's orbit. We can't change our cosmic trajectory. We're just cosmically insignificant.
Speaking of cosmic horror and government conspiracies, Whitney, tell us about the King in Yellow.
Now that's a whole different kind of cosmic horror, one that might be even more relevant.
How so?
Because The King in Yellow isn't about physical entities at all. It's similar to Cthulhu, but delves far more into human culture, a play that drives you insane just by watching. The King in Yellow isn't your typical horror story, it's about a play. Just seeing this show is dangerous, because it means you're marked.
Marked for what?
To witness the truth. See, the play has two acts. The first act is beautiful, normal even, but the second act? Nobody who's watched it has remained sane.
What's in the second act?
That's the genius of it. We never know. The book only shows fragments.
Smart move by the author.
Because the play reveals truths about reality, about Carcosa,
What's Carcosa?
a city beyond space and time, where the King in Yellow rules. But it's not just a place, it's a state of being, a truth so profound it breaks minds.
Like what we discussed with Cthulhu?
Similar but different. This isn't about size or power. It's about knowledge itself being poison. Even looking at the king, through art or description, drives people mad.
Because of what he represents?
Yes, he represents the truth, that everything we know, everything we believe, is just a thin veil, hiding something terrifying.
And people seek out this play?
They can't help themselves. Once you know it exists, the curiosity drives you mad, until you read it. Then the knowledge drives you even madder.
So it's like a virus?
A mind virus, that spreads through pure information. And what's scarier is that the King in Yellow is patient. He doesn't need to act. He just needs to be known about, and humanity will destroy itself.
Through curiosity?
Through the need to know, even when we shouldn't. And I think this is definitely what the anomaly could be. What if the anomaly isn't a physical thing at all? What if it's pure information?
Like the King in Yellow play?
Crap, you're right. Pure knowledge heading toward Earth. That would change everything we understand about ourselves.
That's actually terrifying. At least we can try and fight physical monsters.
Or hide from aliens.
But you can't hide from an idea. Once it's in your head, it's there forever.
What if that's the point?
The announcement itself is the weapon?
But the government said it's near Saturn.
What if that's just what our minds are making us see? Because we can't comprehend the truth?
Like in The King in Yellow, when people try to describe Carcosa.
So we're all already infected? With the idea that something's coming, and tomorrow, when we see it, the real infection begins.
The knowledge itself.
Stop, please. This is so much more painful than the other theories.
Because deep down, we all know it's true. Ideas are the real cosmic horror, and once they take hold, there's no escape.
Should we keep going with another theory?
Yes. Quick, before we think too much about this one, Jared, tell us about Nope.
Nope is different from everything we've discussed because it's not about evil aliens or cosmic horror. It's about nature. See this? Everyone thought it was a spaceship at first, but it's actually an animal.
Like a space whale?
More like a space jellyfish that feeds on anything that looks at it.
How does that work?
This is its true form. The UFO shape is just camouflage, like an anglerfish's lure.
That's genius.
The real horror isn't the creature. It's our arrogance in thinking we understand it. We see a UFO. We think intelligent life, but it's just an apex predator.
Like mistaking a shark for a submarine?
Correct. And when people try to exploit it, try to tame it, nature fights back.
Because you can't tame nature.
You can't negotiate with a tornado. You can't reason with a hurricane. And you definitely can't control a predator that's evolved in the depths of space.
So it's not necessarily malevolent?
No more than a lion is malevolent. It just is, and that's what makes it scary. Because you can't appeal to its humanity. It has none. So here's my theory about the anomaly. What if we're thinking about this all wrong? What if it's not intelligent at all?
Like Jean Jacket?
My thoughts exactly. What if space isn't empty? What if it's an ecosystem? Look at these deep-sea animals. These are animals untouched by humans living in an ecosystem far bigger than all land ones. So imagine what could have evolved with all that isolation and mass amounts of space in the universe.
So the anomaly could just be an animal?
A predator, looking for food.
And we're what? The prey?
Maybe we're not even that. Maybe we're too small to even be worth consuming.
That's so much more horrific.
Because at least invaders would see us as worthy opponents. But to a space predator, we're just background noise.
Like how we don't notice bacteria.
Or how we step on ants without even realizing it.
So tomorrow, when it gets close enough?
It might just pass by, or it might feed, and we can't do anything about it.
Speaking of cosmic threats, let me tell you about something real, something we know exists: black holes. Let's forget about fiction for a second, and finally talk about real cosmic horror. This is a black hole, the most terrifying thing we know exists.
How is it worse than the other theories?
Because it's 100% real, and it breaks everything: physics, time, reality itself.
Explain.
See this? This is what happens if you fall in. You get stretched into an infinite string.
Jesus, that's some real nightmare fuel.
But that's not the worst part. The worst part is time dilation. Time literally stops at the event horizon.
Stops?
From an outside perspective, you'd freeze at the edge, forever.
But from your perspective?
You'd experience the infinite in an instant. And we still don't know what's actually inside.
Nothing can escape, right?
Not even light, not even information. It's a hole in reality.
And these actually exist?
Millions of them, some as big as solar systems. Look at this scale. Our entire solar system would be smaller than a pixel.
I feel sick.
And here's the really scary part. What if the anomaly is one of these? But the thing is, what if this isn't just any black hole? What if it's something darker, pun intended? What if it's alive, a conscious black hole that doesn't just consume matter, but actively hunts it?
That's terrifying, but if we can spot black holes that are hundreds of light years away, then why didn't we see this one sooner?
But that's the thing. Remember what I said about time? What if it's already here?
Then we'd be dead, right?
Not necessarily. Because what if Earth is already inside it, but time is so distorted that we just haven't experienced it yet?
Oh God!
Every moment we're living could be stretched across infinity, inside its event horizon.
So we're already dead?
Maybe we died years ago. Maybe we're just experiencing the final moments, stretched into eternity.
No way. I can't handle this.
Look familiar? Like the anomaly's trajectory?
But we'd know if it was a black hole.
Would we? Or would our minds simply refuse to comprehend it?
Like in The King in Yellow.
Yep, we're already gone. We just don't know it yet.
I need something less cosmic, something more human. Perfect. Then let me tell you about the Lighthouse. The Lighthouse is different. No monsters, no aliens, just two men, an endless isolation.
How is this cosmic horror?
Because it shows how fragile our reality is. Two lighthouse keepers, Thomas Wake and Ephraim Winslow, trapped on this tiny island. At first it's just a job, but then the isolation hits, and that's when things get weird.
Weird how?
Wake won't let Winslow near the light, guards it like it's sacred. And Winslow becomes obsessed. He has to know what's up there.
Like forbidden knowledge?
Exactly. It's Prometheus all over again, trying to steal fire from the gods.
But there are no gods in this.
Are there not? The film never tells us what's real. Maybe they're just drunk and crazy. Or maybe there are cosmic forces at work.
The ambiguity makes it worse.
Because you never know if they're losing their minds or finding a terrible truth.
What happens in the end?
Winslow finally sees what's in the light, and it destroys him, just like every cosmic truth we've discussed.
Knowledge that breaks you.
But the real horror is that we never see what he sees. We're left wondering, and that wondering, that isolation, that's what drives us mad.
So the real horror
Is in our heads, always was. And I think this relates perfectly to our current situation. Oh, and how could I forget the danger of isolation? You know what would be scarier than there being a cosmic entity approaching? There not being one at all. Allow me to explain. Think about it. Earth is our lighthouse, and space is our infinite ocean.
Oh no!
We've been isolated here, searching for signs of life for centuries. Look how alone we are.
But something is coming.
Is it though? Or are we all just going mad from isolation, creating cosmic horrors? Because the truth is worse?
What truth?
That we're completely and utterly alone. This announcement, this anomaly, what if it's just mass hysteria, our collective madness, from centuries of cosmic isolation?
You've got a point.
Because if something's coming, at least we're not alone, even if it kills us. We'd know we're part of something bigger.
But if we're alone,
Then we're just like those lighthouse keepers, trapped, isolated, going mad in our cosmic lighthouse.
Jesus Christ, George.
Way to make it worse.
speaking of worse, I think it's time we face the one possible reality that is so utterly abhorrent and terrifying that nuking ourselves would be bliss. It's time we focused on the all tomorrows, where humanity faces something far worse than isolation, far worse than death, something that makes everything we've discussed seem pleasant in comparison.
What could be worse than cosmic isolation?
How about cosmic transformation? All Tomorrows isn't just another alien invasion story. It's about the complete degradation of humanity. These are the Q, a species so advanced. They see genetic manipulation as art.
What do you mean by art?
They don't just kill species, they transform them. These were once human.
Oh god, I think I'm gonna be sick.
They turned some humans into living buildings, others into organic machinery, some into eternal fields of fleshy toilets.
But why?
Because they could. To them, we're just clay to be molded. Look at these. Each one was once human. Each one conscious, aware of what they've become.
That's disgusting.
Some of these species evolved over millions of years, regained intelligence, only to remember what they once were.
Like waking up from a nightmare.
Except you are the nightmare. These actually managed to become human-like again, after eons of evolution, but they're not us anymore. Nothing is ever us again.
So humanity just ends?
Nope, it continues, but in forms so twisted that death would be mercy.
And this relates to our situation.
Oh yes, because what if the anomaly is us?
Oh my good lord.
What if it's future humanity, after millions of years of transformation, coming back to change their past? To ensure their horrific evolution.
That's paradoxical.
Might not even be that. What if it's something like the Q, coming to improve us?
Please stop.
Think about it. Why tell us to wait? Why not just evacuate?
Because there's nowhere to go.
Exactly. We're about to be transformed.
Into what?
Whatever they want. Living art, biological machines, eternal monuments to their power.
The government alert. It said we'll see it tomorrow.
By then it'll be too late.
Regardless, we've done all we can. We should avoid any more panicking and just accept.
Like not panicking is an option now.
So what do we actually do?
We wait. That's it. Wait to see if we remain human or become something else entirely.
Guys, the sun is rising. Soon we'll know.
One way or another?
Emergency broadcast update. The Anomaly has changed course. It turned back just past Saturn. All immediate threats have been neutralized. Citizens may resume normal activities. Further information will be classified. This concludes our emergency updates. The Earth won't die today. Whatever that was, it either wasn't interested, was giving us mercy, or was the scout.
We're safe?
No, something's not right. Why would it just leave?
After coming all this way?
Guys, what if it wasn't leaving? What if it was reporting back?
Oh crap, like what the government said. It's a scout?
But what could make something that powerful retreat?
Something worse. Something so much worse.
Think about it. If this thing could cross galaxies, what could possibly scare it?
We're not waiting for it to return, are we?
No, we're waiting for what sent it.
Everything we discussed, the mist, the thing, Cthulhu, the king in yellow, the Q.
Those could all have just been small parts to a much bigger whole. The real horror is still coming.
And all we can do is
wait.
Again.
But this time,
For something much worse.
But hey, the immediate threat is gone, so we should enjoy it while we can.
true. Should we go get coffee?
I think that'd be nice.
Works for me.
Coffee it is.